right. Welcome to Shady Talk Wednesday. I am your lovely host. Of course, you guys know me, Miss Shade, Miss No Shade but Shade. I am excited to be here on this lovely Wednesday. I see that the weather is amazing out there today. You would think that it's the summertime. These braids are really getting agitated, meaning it's time for them to come out. But on a other note, I have a special guest in the building with me today. She goes by the name of Brittany Hutt. Can we get a round of applause for Brittany? Yes, Miss Brittany is here in the building today, and we are just gonna chop it up. We are gonna talk on our sisterhood conversation. We just gonna tap into each other's lifestyle a little bit and just communicate about life. But before we get started, I want to read a little bio about Brittany. Growing up in the heart of the hood, from the CCP projects, from the CCP projects to the corner of North Main Street, she has a story to tell. From mini skirts to ball gowns, she's the self-proclaimed guest of honor, Miss Brittany Hunt. Can we have another? Yes.
That is me.
Yes. Welcome, Brittany.
This is really, really nice. This is really, really nice. And I'm so happy to be here. So I thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course, of course. I wanted to invite you too because I know just from knowing you, coming up, seeing you, communicating with you, following you, listening to you, you know, you have a lot of deep conversations. Like I know you're young, and I just feel like even though you're young, you're so mature.
Thank
You speak with a lot of vision, quality. You know, you're always somewhere trying to do some type of girl powering. You're always, you know, very inspirational. To me, I just feel like you're a female that have like a very strong connection with women to where as though you can relate to people on different levels.
Okay.
So I wanted to have you here so we could talk a little bit about life.
Okay.
And I know, like I said, I can't go too deep into every story that I've heard you talk about on social media. But I know when you do talk, you know, it's always coming from a very meaningful place. It seems like, you know, you're never afraid to put your emotions online. And not that you're just telling people your business, but I love how you're just not afraid to be emotionally connected with yourself to where as though that help other people in all aspects be connected with their self emotionally. Because, you know, sometimes when we talk and we say things, people feel like, oh, well, why they say this on social media, or why they putting this up, and why they, you know, talking about that. That should be personal. That should be private. That should be this. That should be that. Some people I do feel, for example, like you, it's not about putting your business out. Like I said, it's more about just being tapped into who you are as Brittany Hunt. So let's talk about her. Who is Brittany Hunt?
So first, let me just say this. I am definitely a girl's girl. Like, I believe that, you know, women, we're supposed to encourage one another, motivate one another. I'm not that female who, you know, you're going to hear about sitting around gossiping about other women and, you know, anyone just, you know, tearing people down. That's not who I am, you know. And I stand so firm on that people don't even do it in front of me. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like stuff like that. I believe that, you know, we're supposed to stick together. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that everyone's going to get along, because they're not, you know, and that's completely okay. But to tear each other down, I don't support that at all. So let me just start there. Aside from that, I am honest. I am authentic. What you see is definitely what you get. You know, I don't sugarcoat. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is what it is. You know, I just believe that, you know, is it's easier for me to show up as Brittany Hunt.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Because if I try to tap into something else or try to, it just won't work for me, you know? And that's not to say it's never happened before, because
Right.
it has happened
Right.
before. You know, that's why I realized the best person for me to be is just me. You
Right.
know, if
Right.
it don't fit for me, it doesn't fit for me. If it's
Right.
not for me, it's not for me. But and let me just say this before we go any further. I am long-winded. I can talk. You know that. So if you feel like I'm taking too long, just give me like a little finger.
No,
You know, but
no. Guess what? The show is about you tonight. So, we want to hear all about Brittany. We
Oh,
want to talk about
God.
Brittany. We want to know, where does this inspirational part about Brittany comes from, as far as like even with you being, like I said, so young and inspirational. I have watched even events that you have given where women come together, and they have a good time and they celebrate, and you give out gifts and you play games, and just on a motivational kind of thing. And to me, and what I love about it, it's always women from all ages. And to me, that definitely expresses also too, who you are and what you try to bring together and what you enjoy doing with
Yeah.
people, and especially with women. Because
Definitely.
everybody, some people can throw an event. Don't get me wrong, events are thrown all the time.
Yeah.
But it's just something about some women when they put women together up under one roof, and it turns out to be amazing. You can feel a different connection from the person who's giving the events. So let's talk a little bit about that. What made you start giving those type of events?
So we're gonna talk about ladies' night. Ladies' night. My very first ladies' night was in 2009. It was 2009, and it was in my living room. I had just moved out on my own. I was like 19, 20, but I knew like I enjoy bringing people together. Like some people need that. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is, we're all going through something that
We
no
are.
one person knows about. You know,
Right.
we all have our best friends. We all have our siblings. We have our parents. We have our spouses, our husbands, whatever. But everyone's going through something in their own lives that no one knows about. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was just like, you know what? I want to bring people together, even if it's just for one night, just to let their hair down, and we just chill and have a great time.
Right.
That's what ladies' night was for originally. After 2009, I said, you know what? Maybe I can turn this into something else, because what happened was my friends at the time, they were just my friends who were coming. In 2009, because it was my house, so it was personal. And then they end up bringing a friend,
Right.
And by 2011, now I need a hall because it's getting too big.
Right.
And eventually it just took on a life of its own.
Okay.
And I'm talking about women from Virginia, Connecticut, New York, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. How you find out about this? Or how you find out about this? There was times I would be walking downtown through Broadway Pizza, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to stop and grab me a slice, and somebody asking about ladies' night,
Right.
or, so I was like, okay, you know what? It became something that people looked forward to,
Right.
so
Okay.
I enjoy it. I really do.
Okay. So let's talk about growing up in the heart of the hood, from the CCP projects to the corner of North Main Street.
Hmm.
What is some of your experience of growing up in the hood to the corner of North Main Street? I ain't gonna get to the mini skirt yet.
Okay,
But
okay.
let's talk about growing up in the hood. Some of your experience
I
that
ain't gonna put no lotion on
that
it.
that you grew up in the hood that made you the woman you are today. What do you think that grounded you from that growing up in the hood?
You know what? And let me just say this. I appreciate the hood.
Absolutely.
I love the hood.
Absolutely.
I'm not that old. I'm not, older, but we grew up old school, where my mom left us at the neighbor's house so that, you know what I'm saying, she can go do here, because that's what she did. She did here. Or, we ate at the neighbor's houses sometime. We borrowed the ketchup. We borrowed the mustard. So that's where I'm from,
Right.
you know. And my mom, there are four of us, we had a great childhood. We really, really did. Of course, not everything was perfect, and, she did the best she could with what she had, but we had a phenomenal childhood. We really did. So in the CCP, everything was perfect to us, to me, you know.
Right.
Even, you know what's crazy, just to jump on top, I didn't even know we were poor. I did not even know that we grew up poor until recently in 2020 when I had to take an institutional racism course in college. That's how I found out we were really poor. But getting back to your question, we had a great childhood, and then, you know, the CCP ended up getting knocked down, so we ended up moving to North Main Street. In the CCP, I'm sure you know about this because I spoke about it before. You know, I was raped.
Right.
You know, around Christmas time, my mom, she was wrapping our Christmas gifts at my aunt's house, and it happened. I don't say anything bad about the person. I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. I actually, I love him because I feel like this is the older me now. This is
Right.
the 28, the 29, the 30-year-old Brittany who is able to look back and say, you know what, there was a problem in that household. That's why he did that. You know what I'm saying? But I forgave him.
Right.
I've forgiven him. And because I've forgiven him, it turned me into Brittany today. You know? But that was just the one memory of the projects that it had a very, very, very bad hold on me, you know. And then now we move over to North Main Street. And it wasn't until I became older that I began to tie all these things together. I'm like, oh, that's related to that. And that's how that happens. I was very promiscuous, you know. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid of my past.
Right.
This is what it is. This is who I am. But I look back on it now, and that's why I am the way I am, because there is a Brittany out there somewhere. You know what I'm saying? There's another Brittany out there somewhere.
Right.
Whether it be in New Jersey or Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? There's another Brittany out there. And, you know, my hope is that one day, someday, she does come across a person like myself
Right.
who is able to just pick her up, grab her under the wing, and say, listen, it's going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? There's a better way.
Right.
There's another way. You know what I'm saying? It took for this one lady, and we all know who she is, very well known in the community. It took for her she gave me a call one day, and she heard some things about myself, and she said to me, she's like, is that true? And I said, yes. And she had this conversation with me that it was just like, it's like she had lifted so much off my shoulders. She said, listen, you're a beautiful young lady. You're going to respect yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Don't you ever let me hear this. And don't you... And it was that conversation right there that just pretty much did it for me. And I'm going to tell you who she is. Her name is Ron Terry, which we all know Ron Terry. But she had this conversation with me, and it just pretty much just did something to me, you know.
Right.
But aside from that, you know, like my mom, she gave us a great life. She really did.
And you know what? The thing that I love about, like you said, about coming from the hood is I feel like some of us who come from those experience or just different experience of growing up in the hood and, you know, facing challenges as we got older, or remembering some of the things that we've been through when we were younger. What I love about it, and why I feel like, you know, we are those type of people that can stand in it, because we come from that place of acceptance. You know, like, to where as though we can't front about what happened to us, even though the world now has changed into people who have to pretend, who's insecure, who's going through all of these things that they don't want people to know, they don't want people to see. See, when you come back from that part of life of knowing that you lived in the real hood and had some trauma growing up, you can stand in it and sit here and be okay with your stories.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I do love about the maturity of some of us who comes from there. And I thank God that we're not in that place with how the world has changed,
Yeah.
where some people come from there, but they can't stand in some of those stories, or they're too afraid, or they, you know, they feel like, you know, it's embarrassing, or...
And you know what's crazy is that at one point that was me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I couldn't tell
Of course,
nobody
at the
that, you
beginning,
know what
of
I'm saying,
course,
like this happened to me
of
because
course,
that didn't happen to
of
everyone
course.
else. So you know what I'm saying? It was almost like a veil was over my head. That's how I
Right.
felt, you know? But the more, I began to grow and just learn the power of forgiveness, and the more I was able to just like stand in my truth, I'm like, yo, this is who I am. This is what it is, but I feel like learning the power of forgiveness, it really lifted a weight off my shoulder. I'm not one who sit around and dwell on things and hide the truth. That's not what it is. No.
But you know why too? Because like I said, you're also in acceptance. Like you said, you knew you was promiscuous. Not at the time, you weren't really thinking.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
when you sit back and you think about it, you also understood that whoever done this to you, they came from a place where they didn't really understand.
Yeah.
So even with you just having that part of, sharing that part of your life to even be understanding to a situation, that helps you be able to be the Brittany that you are today. So I feel like it's okay that if there was a moment that you didn't want to stand in front of people and
Yeah.
feel like what happened to you, you didn't want to talk about it, because at that time you couldn't gather all of these things that you're gathering now, or
Yeah.
that you have gathered later on in life to be
Yeah.
like, you know what, let me look at me. Let me look at
Yeah.
the circumstances.
Yep.
Let me look at the situation.
Yep.
And that's the thing that I feel like sometimes we as people, we have to take the time to tap into ourselves, to
Yep.
tap into the situation. This way we can get a better understanding and be able to deal with our emotions
Yep.
and things that has happened to us in our past. Because just like you said, we grew up in the hood. I grew up in the hood. I didn't come from this, silver spoon in my
Yeah.
mouth either. And I wouldn't change how I grew up,
Nope.
how I got out there on my own, some of the situations that I've experienced
Yeah.
in life. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Me either.
Because once again, I feel like I am who I am today, and I'm able to sit here and understand you and understand where you came from before, where you at now, and still be like, you know what, Brittany, it's still all good. I respect you. I understand you. So you never have to be a female that feel like you got to keep your head down about me, or feel ashamed, or feel like because of how society go, you got to hide who you are. So that's my whole thing. I love coming across women that either we can help them understand that it's okay,
Yeah.
and women who's already standing in that place to understand that, listen, it's okay. Because with us, we need women, other women, to know that it's okay.
Yep. That's so
It's
true.
okay, girlfriend.
Yep.
It's okay to, even if you feel like, because guess what? I'm 48. And I still kind of be like, oh, putting stuff together. Like,
Yep. Yep.
because you don't think of these things as time going on. And, when you're younger, or you even growing older, me being a mom, doing things with my kids, you didn't have time to think. We
Yeah.
didn't have people either who could sit down and communicate with us
Yep.
either, to
Yep.
talk to us. We did have people, like you said, like a Ron Terry, that'll pull you and say something to you, but it wasn't a lot of that. And it's definitely not none of that now. So with us being who we are today, we are the women who are going to open up for other women to be like, girl, so what? That was your past.
Yep.
Stand in it. Stand in it.
Yep.
It's okay. You're not the only one. Everybody has a story. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And it's your outcome, and you still can grow. As long as you take the time to adapt and sit and understand why those things happen, you will be okay.
Yep.
So I'm proud to hear you say that. So now let's get to from the mini skirts to the ball gowns.
I knew that part was coming. So,
Because I thought it was so cute when I was reading it. I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm picturing little cheerleader, little mini gown, little thing. And then I'm picturing, okay, Brittany when she's all dressed up into a ball gown. So I said, yes, I'm definitely going to have her break it down. What does she mean by from a mini skirt to a ball gown? Let's talk about it.
So, a few years ago, probably like 4 or 5 years ago, one of my friends, it was her birthday, and she wanted us to just get together, go to a studio, and just have a great time. We went down to a studio, Malik's studio in Patterson, and we all had to write our own verse on a song to this beat that he did. So that was one of the lines in the song. It was from mini skirts to ball gowns, your guest of honor.
Okay.
So when I said that, they all looked at me like, oh, Brie, you got bars. So I'm like, oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, you know how friends are. They start hyping you up and stuff. But there was a truth to that, you know. From mini skirts, that's from that line right there. That is from me growing up on North Main Street. Right. You have to figure, those that know me, you know, like I was never a small, petite, skinny girl. You know what I'm saying? Always had a big butt. I had a flat stomach. You know, I had big breasts. So to me, that was during the time where I was still trying to figure things out. Or pretty much, as a matter of fact, I had it figured out. You know what I'm saying? I knew, like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I want the mini skirts because it shows off my thighs and it shows my butt. You know what I'm saying? And my stomach flat. Oh, you couldn't tell me nothing.
Right.
You know, I didn't have to use the girdles and the thighs. I didn't use all that. You know, like I had body.
Right.
You know, so the boobs were sitting up. So that was from mini skirts, right? But that, just the thoughts back then, the vision back then was completely different, you know. So now it's from mini skirts to ball gowns.
Okay.
Ball gowns, not really ball gowns, you know what I'm saying, but just more of, I'm more reserved these days, you know, like I'm not showing off my body. I don't have to do that, you know. And when I look back on it, I don't have no regrets about it, you know, because those were the days when you in your teens, your 20s, and you know your early 20s. This is how you dressing, you know. All the guys out there looking good, and you looking good, and you know. So that's where that was, you know. And I pretty much left the mini skirts alone, you know. I'm not saying they don't look nice these days because they do, but I'm just not, you know. I got too much for that, but these days, when I show up, I make sure I'm well dressed. I like to look nice. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I walk in every room like I own it. I don't care who else is in there. I do not care. Everyone else looks nice. Right. Y'all look nice, and I'm gonna compliment you. Right. But I look good too. Right. You know, like, and this is no offense, no disrespect to anyone else, but that's just something my mom taught me. Walk in every room as if you own it. It don't matter who else is in there. So absolutely, that's why I say that. But.
And I like that because even talking about mini skirts, if you think back when you talking about wearing mini skirts, well, I ain't had no mini skirts body, but I probably put on something mini and had a little skirt. But back then we were able to wear that and be ourselves and be promiscuous and not really thinking. You know what I'm saying? So we were able. So even in that time of just wearing the things that we wore, back then we were comfortable with wearing them. Yeah. So even with you saying that from the mini skirts to the ball gowns, I get it because it's like the older you got, the more like mature you got. The transition. You transition. You wanted to look more conservative. You knew what it was to walk in a room and you know, be Brittany. You know what I'm saying? From mini skirts to looking how you know, looking now, dressing and feeling different while you're walking in a room. So that's all. That's all definitely a definition of a change from the mini skirts to the ball gown. Yeah. So I do understand where you're coming from the mini skirts to the ball gown. So okay, so we got the mini skirts and the ball gown out the way. So let's talk a little bit about just what does Brittany has going on now? Oh my! Because I know you're in school. I know you're a full-time worker. I know you're also a caretaker. I am. So how is life treating Brittany now? Because now we on the third step of life.
I know.
We on the third step.
So life is good. Life is still good, right? I am currently a student at Montclair State University. This is my junior year of college, and it feels so beautiful saying that because I never would have imagined, you know what I'm saying? I'm a junior in college, but it feels so good to say it. So yes, I'm a junior in college. I attend Montclair State University. Um, I was going down to PCCC. My major was criminal justice. Like, I love all things law enforcement. That's a passion of mine. But the more I began to just pay attention and show up and see different things within the community, I decided to switch my major. So my major is now political science, and my minor is public administration.
Okay.
Everyone knows that I do have political aspirations. That's not a secret. Now, let me just say this. I don't know nothing about nothing when it comes to politics.
Right.
But the more I pay attention to our city's administration,
Right.
they don't know too much either.
Right.
You know?
And you just want to fight for what's right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You know? And I
Right.
believe in my heart that I can bring change to the community, and I'm going to.
Right.
You know? But I am a junior in college. You spoke about me being a caretaker. I am. My mom has multiple sclerosis. Everyone knows this. My mom is in a wheelchair. But it's not just me. It's myself and my siblings. We do, work it out.
Right.
We take turns. I'm not saying it's always been like that, because you know how it is when you have
Right.
siblings. One feel like they doing more than the other. That's just life, you
Yeah.
know? We done got into arguments over the years, but we know that my mom needs us now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And she
Right.
depend on us now.
Right.
So we work it out.
Right.
Aside from that, I am employed with the city. I've been with the city for 17 years now. I started
Okay.
right out of high school.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
17 years?
17 years. Yeah.
Was that starting from those mini skirts?
Yeah.
Okay, had to be.
17
Okay,
years
wow,
now.
nice.
My plan is to, like I said, go into politics.
Right.
I do know that by working for the city and, having political aspirations, you can't do both, because
Right.
it's a conflict of interest. So I
Right.
am aware that eventually, I have to make some changes. And I'm just pretty much, that's been in the back of my mind for
Right.
some time
Right.
now. I don't have any children. I would love to have children someday. I am ready for children.
Okay.
Um,
Dating? Because that's the only way we could kind of have some children. I mean, not really.
Yeah,
There's other
no.
ways, but dating?
I did meet someone
Okay.
that I am interested in.
Okay.
He expresses and shows his interest in me as
Okay.
well. He's nice.
Okay.
He's nice. He is nice, and we'll see what happens.
Well, you smiling, so he's nice.
Yeah, he's nice. He's
Okay.
nice.
Okay.
He's nice.
Okay. So as far as, like, I know you said you don't know too much about politics, and me either. But with some of the things of who you are as a person and some of the things you have experienced in life as a younger person, what do you think that if you were to get a seat somewhere at the table in your town to bring something that can be helpful to your city, what will be something that you would definitely want to tap into? What are some of the things that you see in your city that makes you want to just go after it and have a seat at one of those tables?
First, and this is not to disrespect any one person,
Right.
who is currently part of our city's administration, but the first thing is the dishonesty and the distrust. That's a real big issue for me. We're in election season right now, and I know that in the past, many candidates, be it current sitting or those who may have just run, whether they had gotten the seats or not, but they make promises that they don't keep.
Right.
That's an issue for me. That's a really, really, really big issue for me. People are used to, in our town, I'm just going to speak on our town.
Right.
What happens is we vote these peoples in position. We vote them, right? They get
Right.
these seats. And then they don't keep the promises that they made to us, right?
Right.
And my issue is that, but then also what now? You know what I'm saying? My problem is our people, our cousins, our aunts, our nieces, our nephews. Yo, we got them in. We got to get them out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I want people to know that they have to show up to vote. Voting on a local level is more important than anything else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Not the presidential race. No, the local level is more important than anything. You know. So I do want our people to understand that. In addition to that, just knowing that, you know, like those seats, no matter who has them now, they're not theirs forever.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Somebody
like, you
gotta get up
cannot
one
keep
day.
that seat forever. And I don't know why our officials, I don't know why a lot of them, they get offended. You know what I'm saying? When they see that other individuals are interested in running.
Right.
You know? And it's like, if you see that this is something that I want, and I'm part of the next generation,
Right.
grab me up.
Yeah.
Groom me, prepare me, because
Right.
you know you can't keep that seat
Right.
forever.
Right.
That's my plan, and
Right.
that's definitely something that I'm going to do. When I get that seat, not if, but when, because I'm going to get one of them. I'm going to prepare somebody
Right.
and groom them, because this is how, you know, people have a problem with passing a torch, you know. And I don't even want you to pass your torch. Keep
Right.
your own, but
Right.
then like mine as
Yeah.
well. You
Right.
understand what
Right.
I'm saying?
That's just like with President Biden and Kamala.
Yeah.
He needed to step down so she can take the position. We need people who knows how to stand up, talk,
Yeah.
tell us what they're really gonna do, get to what we need done. For one, I feel like with our town, as far as how it's running, I personally, I know that people go down to the city hall.
I
I've
should have
never.
put some lotion on these knees.
Oh,
but
please,
it's all
you
right.
ain't gonna see them. Guess what? Mine's is out. So if y'all don't see no lotions on my knees, listen, no shade. I ain't hiding them. I don't know what Brittany worried about hers, but I just feel like one major thing I feel like they need to do. Each person that has a ward. What I don't understand is because everybody goes down to the city hall, and to me, watching some of that city hall stuff, nobody is really heard. I feel like my thought is, if I was on somebody's team, I don't understand why can't each person from their ward have some type of community center or a school or a building or a place where everybody in their ward goes to talk to them in these buildings, and they have a team of people that could write things down, hear what's going on in their ward, and then maybe they can bring it back to the building. To me, it's like trying to hear everything, everybody at one time. Like, there's so many times I wanted to be like, oh gosh, I want to go down there and just be the voice. But I'm just like, it's so unorganized when you watch it and to hear how people are basically crying out for things to change, for people to hear them. To me, one of my ideal things will be for each council person that has a ward is to find a place in your ward that people in your ward can come to and communicate with you about what's going on. So that will be an ideal for me to be able to know that I can go to my council person that has a ward and he or she calls meetings somewhere in that ward, and just those people that's in that ward come there and communicate so things can be heard. Because trying to hear 10 different wards downtown, 50,000 people at one time, you can't connect and gather things together. You're only going to be able to get this much and hear about it.
You know what? It's almost like a double-edged sword. So here's the thing. They can do that. They can do that. And it's not to say that they don't do it. Maybe it's just not as often. You understand what I'm saying?
Because I've never heard about it.
This is what I'm saying. So they can do that. There's nothing that says that they cannot do that. You know, you pretty much just calling a meeting, or you just pretty much you just sitting down with the people of your ward. Like, you can do that. Like,
Right.
you don't need permission to do that. All you need is a location.
Right.
You know, you get a location. listen, you could set up some flyers or reach out to some people. Hey, we meeting up here just to hear your concerns.
Right.
The thing is that, again, and I'm not singling any one person out, but what happens is they're not used to, or put it like this, they are not held accountable enough, right? So it's okay for them to skate by. You get me? But then now, once we start nearing the elections, see, right now, this is not the ward election. You get what I'm saying? So it's no need to host a round table.
Right.
You get me? Even though they should be, but they're not, right?
Right.
Whereas in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when the elections are approaching again, you'll see those, you know what I'm saying? You'll see that. It's going to happen. So they do it. It's just that it's not as often as it should be,
right?
You know, all you need is a location. It's pretty much like
because I feel
hosting an event. All you got to do is find a location,
right?
Lock in the time. If they charge, they charge. If they don't, they don't. Listen, I'm going to host this here for the residents of our ward,
and
this
plus,
is what's
I feel like people can be heard more. And like you said, people like you who want to take the stand and be at the round table, you're not trying to take anything from anybody. But at least if they were to able to see somebody like you come and advocate, know a little more of what's going on, want to talk about what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? To grasp the idea and say, you know what? When it's my turn out of the seat, or it's okay for me to give up my seat, I think Brittany Hunt would make a great candidate or a great council person. How she comes, how she shows up, how she communicate with her people, because everything to me, it takes a team. But you can have somebody solid that knows how to represent their self, to where as though, like you was just speaking, this person can pull you up.
Teach me, pull me up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want your spot. I actually admire you and I look up to you.
Right.
But I'm gonna tell you this, right? I show up, you know. I don't go to the city council meetings as much as I would like to, only because I work nights. I work 3 to 11. But I'm going to tell you this much. I pay attention. And things that I see that aren't being done, that I wish were done more often, or things that I know need to be done, trust me when I tell you, I have a notebook and I write things down, you know. And that's not to say that I'm going to start that when I get to see. No, that's saying that
you're preparing yourself.
I'm preparing myself, but then also next year, like, you will see a different Brittany, you know, preparing for that lane, you know, because it is tough, you know. But another thing is, though, and this is something that's very, very, very important to say, right? People have to understand too. At the end of the day, we're all human and we're all adults, right? And under no circumstances, no matter what the situation may be, if you pay attention to the city council meetings, people get up there, they start cursing the members out, cursing at the council members, carrying on like they don't have any sense. It's so easy for a person to just walk away and disregard you. And then you feel disrespected, right? Because you're my elected official. I voted for you. You have to sit there and accept and listen to my disrespect. No.
Right.
That's the first thing I'm going to make sure that people know about me. I don't disrespect people.
Right.
And because I don't disrespect people, I'm not going to tolerate it from people.
Right.
People curse Mims out. People curse Mike out.
Now, do you think it's because they're that angry?
People curse Ruby out.
I do agree with you saying that you do have to be respectable, even trying to get your point across. But do you think that the town is so angry? And the reason why I brought up that about, you know, taking a stand and talking about the city, because when we talked about growing up and the things that, you know, we were able to accept, I want Patterson to be great again, because it will be. Patterson was great. Yeah. And we still have some of us here that know Patterson is great and still want to make it great, even coming from a past. We still.
Let me tell you something. I pay attention to Mr. Gilmore. Mr. Gilmore is the perfect example of Mr. Gilmore. He's not gonna curse you out. He's not gonna get all loud, irate, belligerent. He's not. But you're gonna get his point. And he's gonna curse you out very nicely. You understand what I'm saying? Mr. Gilmore can be nice, nasty. He does. You know, but he knows his stuff, and And when he speaks, when he opens his mouth, he knows what he's talking about, and he don't mind he don't mind holding nobody accountable.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I said that to say, like, people have, like, you really do get more bees with honey. Now I'm not saying suck up to people and
Right. Let them do what they want to do to you.
I'm
Right.
not even gonna do that.
Right.
So I'm never gonna recommend anyone else do that.
Right.
But I can assure you of this. Even if you're upset, angry, hurt, or just tired, you have every right to feel that way.
Right.
But the very moment you start cursing people out and being disrespectful and just this and that and the F-bomb and a B-bomb you are giving them the opportunity to walk right away from you, because no one person has to sit and accept that.
Right.
That's you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're never, ever, ever going to talk to me like that.
And that's
because I don't talk to people like that.
And that's the thing, too, that I feel like maybe in our community, we're not social workers, we're not counselors, we're not people who trained to do some of, help control some of those things that people do. But I do think that if there can even be some type of resources where going through these situations that we're going through, not that we're trying to teach people how to speak, but I do feel like people do want to be heard.
Yeah.
So we also need an outlet too, to where as though there is a way to help people control the anger of wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
And some people they don't have that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't think that they do it purposely.
It's not purposely. It's not intentionally.
Yeah, it's just some people just don't have that. But once again, just like we was talking, everybody needs somebody that can relate and understand where they come from.
Yeah.
In order for people to kind of deal with things a little different. But it is a big world. It is a big city. It is a big town. You can't grab everybody.
Yeah.
But that's why I was saying that I wish it was a way that there can be multiple meetings, not just when it's time to vote, just period.
Just
that,
in general.
That these council people have a space somewhere or a spot that they can,
just talk to the persons
just
of their
talk,
ward.
just talk. Have a team, 6 people at a table taking notes, writing down, because everybody can't get heard. But I think if you break the people down and put places and where people can come and just express themselves a little better, that will help some of the anger and the frustration and the cussing.
People feel like they're not heard.
we need some more here in the city.
You know what? Let me tell you something. So much money comes into Patterson. So much money. It's ridiculous how much money comes here. And the fact that the funds are being allocated improperly,
right,
is hurtful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's hurtful to see. It's hurtful to read about. It's hurtful to hear about. It's wrong. It's not right at all. But this is why, people have to understand the power that we hold. We don't have to have political aspirations just to take 7 minutes out of our day to go vote. This is why that is so important. Even me, for myself, like, I didn't realize the importance of voting. I did not realize.
I think a lot of us just start really realizing that.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
Even like the more I read, the more I learn in class, and I'm like, oh wow. And I look back and I'm like, yo, the audacity of me to miss an election because I'm on my way to the airport and I don't want to miss my flight.
Right.
This is serious.
Right.
Knowing that, there's early voting. I could have voted a week prior to the election or whatever, The audacity of me, the audacity of me to even...
But you didn't understand.
I didn't understand. So now that I do...
Now that you do.
I make it a point to even talk to my friends about this. Yo, make sure you go vote.
Right.
Make sure you go vote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure you go vote. We have to vote.
Right.
We have to vote, and the local elections are more important than any other election,
Right.
But we have to vote, because as long as we continue to refuse showing up to the polls, or just, failing to show up to the polls, those that we feel are not doing what they're supposed to do or not doing right by us, they're gonna keep the
And I think for the
seeds.
most part, even with some of the council people, like we talked about, they need some of us young ones on their team. You know,
I don't
because
want to talk about that.
we need to help be their spokesperson for them so they can listen to us and we can help them figure out a way. But I do believe that when you are in a certain position, you need a strong team. You need the listener, you need the understander, you need the technology person. You need a team of people, everybody that can connect on one team to try to help something get going. You need it. And here we need it. We definitely need it here. So, I'm hoping and I'm praying that, you know, one day you will be able to be Councilwoman Miss Brittany Hutt and bring what we need
Let me tell you
to the
something.
table and many others, you know?
People don't realize that, number one, none of us are getting any younger.
Yeah.
We're all going to get older. You know, hopefully we do live to see 60 and 70 and 80. But either way, if you're doing the right thing and you prepare someone or a few people to pretty much fill your shoes in your absence, then you've done your part, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that's not what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happens here.
Right.
That is not what happens here.
Right.
I've been told, I want you to stick with me because I'm going to prepare you and I'm going to groom you. And then after the election, I don't hear nothing from the person or persons. I've been told that on more than one occasion, and honestly, I'm okay with that.
Right.
I figured it out now. I see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
one thing I've learned about Patterson, coming from the heart of Patterson, you got to stand on your own sometimes.
you
here.
have to. You have to.
You
You have
have
to stand
to.
on your own merit. And this is why I'm okay with
Yeah.
what I just said. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
If you want to feed me BS
Yeah.
and think that I believe it, all right, no
Yeah.
problem. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
You to death. I'm all right with that.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that I have dreams, right? And not only that, but I also have a vision.
Okay.
Because if you don't have a vision, then you pretty much just gonna be freestyling your way through life, you know, and you can't do that
You
because
can't.
then you won't get anywhere.
Right.
I know what my dreams are. I know what my goal is. So I have a vision, and that vision is what's going to take me to that. Hence, I changed my major. All things law, I love it.
Right.
Been in the police station since, I didn't even mean to say that, but I've been down there since I was 18, you know. I love all things law. I'm that person who is going to call you out if you've done something wrong.
Right.
Because what you did wasn't right. You can't say to me, Brittany, write that person up because XYZ. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'm that person.
Right.
I am rebellious. I don't listen. You can't just tell me to do anything just because you're my supervisor or you're in a higher put. No. I'm
Right.
not doing that.
Right.
I'm not that person. You
Right.
can't tell me to do that. So again, I have a vision.
Right.
And because I have a vision, it's allowing me to, you know, to pretty much, it allowed me to come up with a plan, you
Right.
know. And that plan is what's pretty much taking me to and I'm going to get one of those seats. People say to me, oh, keep that to yourself. No, no. This vision and this was placed on my heart for a reason, and it's been there and it's sitting there for some reason. It won't leave.
It won't move. Okay.
It won't move. You know, this was never a goal of mine. I never saw myself wanting to go into politics.
Right.
I, like many folk, I don't mess with politics.
Right.
Politicians, they're all crooks. They're the biggest crooks. That was my mindset.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At 19 and 18 and 20 years old. I never saw this for myself.
But now you know what it takes to be a politician.
Thus is true.
So
Thus
that's
is
why.
true. In addition to that, I feel like yo, and this is not all of them. You know what I'm saying? It's not all of them.
Right.
Past, present, it's not all of them, you know. But there are some people out there who just allow themselves to just be like bought, you know, and it's like no $1 amount should allow you to compromise your integrity, you know what I'm saying, to go against your morals. I'm gonna tell you like this, whether I get the position or not, listen, anything that's gonna disrespect my mother or embarrass my mother, embarrass my older brother who is a Patterson firefighter, or bring any type of shame to my last name, Hunt. Oh, you could count me out. And that's my word. You can count me out. I don't even want it.
Right.
I don't want it.
Right.
Nope. Because I'm a representation of my mother. I'm a representation of my older brother, you know, and my grandmother. No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Well, thank you for that, Brittany. And I also want to thank you for. Yes. We had a lot of comments on Facebook. I ain't gonna be able to
Really?
get.
I'm sorry.
No. And you're right, Janice. It's called town hall meetings. Yes, we need some places where we can have some town hall meetings. Thank you for giving me the proper way to say about having meetings. But I want to thank you so much, Brittany, for coming here on Shady Talk Wednesday and having this conversation with me. I feel like we touched on a lot of amazing things within the hour. I know it's so much more that we could sit here and talk about. So I would love to extend another invitation to you on my show. You know, because I feel like we know visions, we have ideals, we come from the hood, we come from that life where there's so much more for us to talk about. Not only so much more for us to talk about, but so much more for us to open up for other women to be okay with where they at, where they been, where they coming from, where they gonna go to. And I feel like I know we got some of those conversations because I was right over the wall from the CCP. So I already know. But I want to thank you so much for coming on Shady Talk Wednesday. From miniskirts to ball gowns, she the self-proclaimed guest of honor, Miss Brittany Hunt. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I really do. I really enjoyed myself. I was so nervous. I'm like, oh gosh, what is she gonna ask me?
I tell people all the
ask
time.
Me about my dating life. No. I'm like,
listen. One thing about me, I always, because to me, I love this. This is. People talk about comedy, but this is really my thing right here, podcasting. Because I love conversing. I love talking to women. I love talking to people, letting them be their self. Talk about things that's really real, what's really going on. Things that's very relatable. That's why even in my comedy, everything is very relatable.
Honey.
You know?
When you say I'm old school, I go in the house, take off my bra and put it on the door. Baby, I had to put on my good bra for tonight. But I said, yo, is she telling my business or is she telling my business?
And when you go home, you take it off and put it right on that door.
And you know you can't wash the good bra all the time.
No.
You can't wash the good bra because you know the wires start coming. Yo,
that's
go ahead.
That's it. Thank you so much, Brittany, for coming on the show. I enjoy you. Thank you all for watching Facebook, YouTube. Thank you all. Oh, by the way, guys, I'll be in Atlantic City Friday, November the 8th at the Resorts Hotel. Bringing the shade to Atlantic City, bringing the funny. So if you ain't doing nothing, get you a room. Put them comps on those rooms. Come down Friday. Spend y'all money, not Friday, but Saturday, because I would need y'all to watch the show on Friday. So don't go to those machines if you coming down to Atlantic City. Friday, November the 8th. Check me out. Also, too, I'm going to be starting comedy nights at the Underdog in Helden starting November the 13th on a Wednesday. Try to do some after work kind of thing. 2 other comedians will be in the building. So stay tapped in with me. Thank you so much for tuning in on Shady Talk Wednesday. Good night.
Good night. Good night, guys. Good night.
That's all right.